Well, hello and welcome to this quick little farm traveler video for today's episode, which is 119, which is crazy. So anyway, today we're interviewing Gene Lollis from Florida Cattle Ranchers, and we're going to learn a thing or two about what makes Florida so special when it comes to beef. Because if you're like most people, when it comes to Florida, you might think two things: Disney World and beaches. And although you're not wrong, Florida actually is one of the leading beef producing states, actually east of the Mississippi. And so, actually, one of the biggest ranches in the continental U.S., actually, I think it's just in the U.S. in general, is Deseret Ranch, which is the big Mormon ranch. And they actually have one in South Florida and here in the Panhandle. And so, when it comes to beef, Florida's huge, and a lot of people don't think about that. And so, we're going to learn more with Florida cattle ranchers Gene Lollis about the history of Florida cattlemen, about what makes beef in Florida so special, and also the whole conservation slash sustainability of beef. Because given our climate right now, with the whole thing of climate change and sustainability and land conservation and everything like that, beef and animal agriculture usually get kind of a bad rap. People say that beef is contributing exponentially more to climate change than it actually is. And the data shows that all of agriculture here in the U.S. produces 3% of greenhouse gas emissions from the U.S. and transportation is 27%. But a lot of people say that beef is the worst thing here in the United States because it's producing so much methane, carbon dioxide, and all that stuff. But we don't really talk about that about transportation. And I think that's because switching up from beef instead of telling people not to drive is convenient. I mean, people don't want to be, if they have to drive less, that's going to be a huge issue. And so we don't want to change that. I know there's a huge push with electric vehicles and all that stuff, but that's a whole other argument. Beef is actually doing a lot of good here in the state of Florida, and Gene is going to describe that. Actually, here's a quick little clip of Gene and I talking about how COVID has actually increased producer to consumer relationships, and how actually people buying direct from producers here in Florida has been a huge win. So check out that clip, and afterwards, go check out the podcast episode wherever you get your podcasts at, whether that's Apple, Spotify, wherever. Check it out and listen to our whole interview. It was a blast talking with Gene, and I love learning about Florida stuff because, kind of here in Florida. So yeah, watch this clip, and then go check out the episode and enjoy it. Okay, here's a clip. Do you think that might be something that kind of stays around a lot longer, going kind of more direct to consumers? Because I've seen a bunch of people that have started selling beef at farmers markets and they're doing more direct. And I think it's awesome because that kind of, you're building better relationships between farmers and consumers. And so do you think that'll stay around a little bit longer?
Yeah, I think you're going to see the dynamics of just distribution and regionalization of how we move our food throughout the United States. The one thing I done mentioned it once, I said, again, we need our ability to produce food in our country, without a shadow of a doubt. And the interesting thing about Florida is we grow crops all year long because we have a subtropical, very mild climate most of the time. I'm not saying we don't get cold, but we're growing something all year long. And when you look at it, Florida is very, very important for the rest of the United States for about 5 months out of the year where you can't grow anywhere else. You got California, of course. But, as we start looking at transportation and trucking and mobilization and just how we distribute things, it's all on the back of trucking. And when you start looking at transportation, it's getting tougher and tougher to get people to drive trucks. So I think as a society, we really need to start looking at what it takes to regionalize or change our method of moving our food products around the country. And not saying those things are going away, but I think the dynamics are always changing.